Spanish-speaking countries get a bad rap for being Catholic-dominated, conservative, and macho-ridden, which is just absolutely true. Any form of oppression is obviously horrible, and one way of fighting against it is by being astute, subversive, and daring, just like the following Ibero-American LGBT+ icons I'm going to talk to you about. They deserve your admiration because not only did they fight for equality while claiming their identity, but because they did so while producing great art. We're going to begin with a very underappreciated musician. When it comes to Cuban LGBT+ icons, Reinaldo Arenas, the Cuban writer and playwright who was portrayed by Javier Bardem and Before Night Falls, is probably the first person to come to mind. But Cuba also has Bola de Nieve, a talented and humorous singer-songwriter. Ay, que calentito y rico está, ya no se puede pedir más. Ignacio Jacinto Villafernández, born in September 11 of 1911, used to mix Afro-Cuban genres with a flamboyant delivery and in many languages beyond Spanish. Café Tacuba, the Mexican alternative band, released a Bola de Nieve cover in their acclaimed LP Avalancha de Éxitos. No me comprendes, me dices loco, solo te inspiro curiosidad. Sadly, Ignacio has been largely relegated to obscurity, even though he had a successful international career and did so as an openly gay black man, which was highly unusual for the mid-20th century. Spanish singer, actress, model, and TV host Bibi Andersson was born Manuel Fernandez in 1954. After completing her military service, she began performing in nightclubs in the 70s, released various songs, and landed several parts in films by Pedro Almodóvar and Alex de la Iglesia. Now, doing cool things and having cool friends is super fun and all, but one of the most interesting things about Bibi's career has to do with the loathsome industry that is mass media, specifically her visibility within it. Bibi was regularly invited to host mainstream shows, often next to very conventional figures, while also participating in highbrow programs. This made her widely admired not just for her beauty, but for her intelligence, confidence, and gracious voice.
¿Cuál ha sido, digamos, el secreto para llegar a ser tan respetada y respetable?
Me parece que el respeto empieza por una misma. Y entonces yo siempre he sentido mucho respeto por mí misma y además por todas las personas que he tenido a mi alrededor.
Meaning she provided great, elegant, and visible dignity to a highly marginalized and shunned community. Ponme la mano aquí, Macorina. Ponme la mano aquí. Chabela Vargas was born in Costa Rica in 1919. Moved to Mexico when she was 17, and then undermined every principle of what a submissive woman should be like by dressing like a man, drinking like a man, partying like a man, singing like a man, picking up women probably better than a man, all while carrying a gun and smoking cigars. Chabela Vargas was the most punk rock person of the last century, except she actually knew how to sing, although she did go through a dark period of alcoholism in the 70s. In fact, for a long time, most people presumed that she was dead.
Chabela Vargas vive.
Then, in the 80s, Pedro Almodóvar rediscovered her, and Chabela's career had a second wind. She went on to perform in prestigious venues, such as New York City's Carnegie Hall, and released what I personally consider to be the best music of her career. The trendy, celebrated Roberto Bolaño called Pedro Lemebel, his compatriot, the greatest poet of my generation, even though he doesn't write poetry. Born in 1952, Lemebel gained fame in his country as a member of the performance art duo Las Yeguas del Apocalipsis, the Mares of the Apocalypse, which was a two-man troupe that defied the Pinochet dictatorship with provocative performances. In the mid-90s, and until his death in 2015, Lemebel gained international fame with his essays, chronicles, and novels written from a queer perspective, and with a brutal, funny, and irrepressible style. But I'm not gonna sell you Pedro any better than Bolaño himself, who said, "Nobody reaches deeper than Lemebel." As if that wasn't enough, Pedro is courageous, meaning he knows how to open his eyes in the darkness, in those territories where no one dares to enter. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please check out The Americano on social media for more content.
Me gusta.